Can you believe in the nerve of this Drago jerk? Hug. Niv Mizzet is more the kid's has-been. Ugh, I freaking hate that dragon so much. Don't screw this up, Zarek. As if. I mean, come on, I'm amazing.
Hello everyone, my name is Trapixium, and this headache I'm stuck listening to is...
Ral Zarek, is a guild master and professional master of lightning.
Yeah, Ral Zarek. You know, bud, if you think you're so great, why don't you do the video?
Man, why didn't you say so? Born in a humble working-class family in the 10th district, the young, handsome Ral Zarek had magic in both his soul and his fingertips.
Stop! No, stop right now.
We were just getting to the part about my traumatic background.
No, I am going to tell your story, and you are going to sit there and be quiet.
Joke's on you. I can't sit. I'm a voice in your head, dummy.
Stupid Ral being smarter and stuff.
That's right. Now, why don't you make like a good discount, Tommy, and do what you Gruul do best. Sit there.
Zen, show Flashlight over here how we rumble in the rubble belt.
What? That doesn't even make sense. Oh my god, why are there snakes?
My head, my world, my rules, nerd.
Tomic, help!
Now, let's get on with the story. To finish off where old Sparkplug left off, yes, Ral was born on Ravnica just off the 10th district to a working-class family, and to no one's surprise, Zarek was born with the power to create rainstorms, which he was mocked for growing up. He kept to himself because of it. He was actually quite the bright child. He had a budding love for the guilds, and he enjoyed studying them, and none more so than the Izzet League. Ral learned storm magic from Niv Mizzet's own equations, ironically enough. He loved the guild, and nothing made him happier than the day he became an Izzet guild mage. Sadly, Ral's home life wasn't much better. His father was a drunk, and his mother worked to feed them both, and after a bad accident, she was horribly wounded for 2 years and never really recovered.
I watched her go through so much pain. I couldn't be a burden to her anymore. I just couldn't. So I left. I didn't have a choice, though. It was either leave and be one less mouth to feed, or stay and the three of us go homeless, and Dad was too drunk to walk. So I did.
That he did. Striking out on his own, Ral became a rain mage, and after 4 years of work, he was making his way on Ravnica and had his own flourishing relationship with a young poet named Elias. After a particularly rough day, Ral was introduced to a man who offered the young mage a job. Little did he know the weight of the name his employer carried. Ral was contracted by Nicol Bolas. For 3 years, Ral did odd jobs for Bolas while living an increasingly lavish lifestyle, and while Elias's career had taken off, the two were growing apart. Things would inevitably culminate after one of Ral's enforcer jobs where he was stabbed and then came home to find Elias cheating on him with another dude. That's rough, my man.
Yeah. First breakups are always the hardest.
And it wouldn't be a breakup Ral would forget either. The resulting shock was enough to ignite Ral's latent spark and send him flying off to an unknown plane. Ral was alone, heartbroken, and back to square one. A stranger in a faraway place that he did not call home. What did you do, Ral?
Worked under a dude who worked with electricity and got another boyfriend. This one named Harith.
Interesting. What else did you do?
Well, I learned all of the old man's tricks. And then I left with Harith.
You're skipping something.
Fine. I learned everything from the old man. And then Harith and I robbed him.
10 years later, Ral carved out a small empire for himself and built his first accumulator. Sadly, Bolas would inevitably come to collect Ral, and our hero would have to return to Ravnica. Ral became chief researcher for the Izzet League and took up studying these ruins that were found throughout the 10th district that were connected to an implicit maze that fascinated the guildmaster of the Izzet.
Stupid Izzet looking cool and stuff.
Searching for answers, Ral took a team into the Ravnican Undercity and followed the trail through the catacombs only to run into the Golgari. And After what I can only describe as angry explosion noises, Ral and his team managed to use the ley lines to find what they were searching for, the first clue to discovering the maze. A week later, Ral was already working on discovering the Demir Gate, when he caught word that Jace Beleren had also began his own research project regarding the maze. With the Mind Mage now trying to get ahead of him, Ral grew more reckless in trying to find the gates, and went as far as trying to conjure a giant lightning elemental over the Azorius territory to distract them to find the Azorius Gate. Niv Mizzet determined that Ral was taking too many risks with the guild members and booted him off the project. Ral was reassigned to find the mage that had managed to mentally touch Niv. Conveniently enough, it was Jace Beleren. So that works out for Ral because he is now obsessed with trying to solve the maze and goes to Jace's home to get answers from him. When Ral arrived, all he found was a burned sanctum, but Ral knew the notes he was looking for were in the ashes somewhere. So he used magic to find the information Jace tried to destroy. And that's when Ral learned he came very close to solving the maze, and now that Ral held that information, he didn't need Niv anymore. Ral traced the maze all the way back to the Forum of Azor, only to be denied entrance for a reason Ral couldn't understand, and words could not describe how mad he was.
Everything I risked, it all led up to a closed door, so I did the only thing I could have. I reported to Mizzet. Turns out Lizardface knew what the maze was designed for. Some kind of failsafe in case the power balance of the guild pact was ever offset.
And now that the League fully understood what they had stumbled upon, they knew the maze had to be run in order to restore balance to the streets of Ravnica and prevent total war amongst the guilds. Since the maze would require the participation of all 10 guilds, Niv Mizzet gave the order to make the research regarding the project public and sent Ral to do it.
Guilds of Ravnica. The Dragon Niv Mizzet had come to a decision. Your aggressions threaten our city and risk of all-out war. To quell these conflicts, the Izzet will include you in our grand project. The Firemind has discovered an ancient maze that winds through our world. It passes through all 10 hallowed guild gates, from Selesnia's welcoming arch to the dungeon doors of Rakdos. Niv Mizzet invites you to complete the maze's path and choose a champion to traverse it. Warrior, diplomat, sorcerer, or brute, the choice is yours. Running the maze will be treacherous, deadly even, but you will send your champions because solving the maze will yield a prize that will change our world forever. One being will rule the guilds of Ravnica.
With that message, Ral returned to Nivix to prepare for his maze run, only to learn that it wouldn't be him running the maze. The Izzet literally created a weird, perfectly designed to run the maze named Melik. Suffice to say, Ral was pretty mad, so he talked to Niv, and he said too bad, and made Ral the coordinator and told him to accompany Melik on the run. When the champions gathered, and right before Melik was about to declare itself the Izzet Maze Runner, Ral absorbed it into his gauntlet, and stepped forward in his stead. Ral was not interested in a fair run either, since he had planned a surprise attack on the other runners, and with that, he began his maze run. Ral made it all the way to the Izzet Gate, and decided to wait for Jace to show up, so he could confront him. When Jace arrived, Ral jumped him, and revealed that he had the Selesnian runner, Amara, captured, and would kill her unless Jace told her the truth about him being a planeswalker. Upon doing so, Ral attacked Jace, but thanks to illusions, he escaped. Ral arrived at the Forum of Azor just in time to stop the contingency plan that would destroy the guilds, but that is a story for another time. But to fill in the blank, Jace connected all the runners' minds and forced them to agree to make him the living guild pact. Dumbfounded, Niv Mizzet tasked Ral with researching Jace's sudden disappearances. One of Ral's fellow guildmates, Marie, almost exposed the existence of planeswalkers to the Firemind, which would have created its own set of problems, but with Jace's help, Ral managed to distract Mizzet, and upon learning there were 4 new walkers on Ravnica, Ral insisted Jace not leave, only for him to leave anyway. A few months passed, when suddenly
some weird-looking dude with a metal arm planeswalked to my house and confronted me saying, "My master is summoning you to fulfill your debt." I refused to comply, and after a brief scuffle, I sent him packing.
Without Ral, Bolas took control of a Demir agent to implant a thought in the mind of Niv Mizzet. The agent was captured and had her mind searched, and discovered the plan Bolas had constructed. Niv sent for Ral and explained that he knew about planeswalkers the whole time and that Ral was one, and told Ral to call a guild summit to change the guild pack so that he could protect the plane from Bolas. To gain the support of the Orzhov, Ral staged a raid on Orzhova by the Golgari, and with the help of the ghost assassin Kaya, they killed the Obsidat, which, by the way of Orsovan tradition, made Kaya the new guildmaster. Isperia, the guildmaster for the Azorius, convened the summit and called for a collaboration, only for the guilds to fall into disarray at the idea, but that changed when Niv showed up and revealed the real enemy to be Nicol Bolas. Niv proposed the reactivation of the failsafe to make himself the guild pact, making Ral the guildmaster for the Izzet League. The guildmasters would reconvene in the morning to consider the idea, only for Isperia to suddenly disappear. Thankfully, Ral had a backup plan that was just dumb enough to work.
We are going to rewire the maze, so we can manually reset the Living Guild Pact. The hardest part would be obtaining the Gruul and Golgari nodes, so we sent Aurelia and Dovin to capture the Gruul and the Orzhov, and Rakdos to sequester the Golgari. We captured both at a loss, but we did it, and when the time came for the other guildmasters to come together to activate the failsafe, Dovin got cold.
Probably because he was working for Bolas the whole time. Right before Bolas arrived, Dovin sabotaged the whole experiment. Niv went to Ral and admitted that he underestimated Bolas and actually complimented Ral, so Niv flew off to distract Bolas as long as possible. He died, by the way. Ral went off with someone named Hikara to ignite the planar beacon, only to be waylaid by Vraska and a mind-controlled Lavinia. With Hikara's sacrifice, Ral was able to free Lavinia, best Vraska, and ignite the beacon. Sadly, using the beacon was only playing into Bolas' plan. Given the signal, the Immortal Sun was activated, and all planeswalkers on Ravnica that had come to save the guilds were now trapped, and Ravnica was promptly invaded by the Army of Eternals. Ral led a charge against the Eternals with the help of the Izzet and also convened his fellow planeswalkers to suss out a plan on how to stop Bolas from swallowing all of their sparks like a giant black hole of spark-sucking joy.
You okay, dude?
Yeah, I'm fine. Jace made the suggestion to split into teams. Ral and Marie would be put in charge of disabling the beacon, but since Ral Bolas-proofed the damn thing, the only way to stop it would be to drain it of all of its power. Well, that works out perfectly well, because with Ral's accumulator, he is essentially a walking lightning rod. So, the two went to task of draining the beacon, and it nearly killed him. So, I'm gonna let Ral here explain how much energy he absorbed.
Well, let's do some math. It takes 50 kilovolts to split a rock. One lightning bolt has around 300,000 kilovolts. The amount of power in the 10th district was about enough to power a whole city, so around 1,000,000 kilovolts? I hit Kefnet with enough electricity to blow its giant arm off. So let me crunch the numbers really quick. Plenty.
Great scientific mind as always. Once the beacon was disabled, Ral joined up with Kaya in the Undercity and almost had to fight the Golgari again until Vraska showed up to re-establish control. Ral didn't trust her, but she promised to help stop Nicol, so good enough. The three guild leaders went about helping with the evacuation in any way they could. The group traveled to Rakdos' guild hall Rixmati to try to convince Rakdos himself to help, but were treated with hostility by Rakdos because of the death of Hikara. But it's okay, because a advocate by the name of Tomik showed up with Hikara's corpse and had her resurrected as a blood witch, and she agreed to lead the Rakdos against Bolas. With all the guild leaders in agreement, the project to try the failsafe was back on, and with the help of Nissa Ravane, Niv Mizzet was reborn and made the Living Guild Pact. Niv immediately turned one of the rampaging god Eternals into molten slag, so that worked out great. Ral did indeed survive the events of Ravnica, and in private, Ral and Tomik got to spend a little time together.
I wish it could have been longer, but I had things to do. Old Scaleface needed my help tracking down the planeswalkers that helped Bolas. He called it penance for aiding him. I was tasked with bringing back Tezzeret. With the help of the wandering planeswalker, we tracked him back to Esper, held up in a fortress on Alara. We fought our way to him, and when he took out my guide, I tried to use my accumulator, but his fortress was rigged to redirect energy. It came down to fist, and I'm no Guinea Jura, so I got beaten, badly. Tezzeret had the chance to kill me right there, but he stopped short. He told me he didn't want to be hunted anymore, and gave me that arm of his and told me to show it as proof of me killing him. I returned to Ravnica and I had to make the choice. Lie again, or be a leader and tell the truth. Leading the Izzet was always my dream, and having that kind of power requires leadership, so told the truth. Marie called a no confidence vote, and somehow I managed to get enough support to not be voted out. I am Ral Zarek, Guildmaster to the Izzet League, Caller of Storms, and the best damn engineer Ravnica has ever seen.
Ral's character is one born of strife, trying to make the best out of a worse situation, and while sometimes his moral compass may be askew at times when the chips are down, he will always do what's right.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty awesome.
Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and tell me what you think of Ral Zarek. Is he as electrifying as he claims to be, or do you think he could be a bit of a higher voltage? A special thank you to Beyond the Machina for taking the time to voice Ral. I will leave you a link to his Inked Gaming page and in the description so you can check out some of his amazing artwork. You will also find links to the Revelers Den Discord server and our Twitch, where we stream almost every day, Monday through Thursday at noon Eastern Standard. And on Saturdays, we stream EDH with a wide cavalcade of guests. And as always, if you want to revel with me and Xenagos, hit the subscribe button. And until next time, everyone, may your revels never end.